evening, everybody. I'm going to call the meeting to order and ask everyone to rise for the pledge, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. So before we get to the big part of our meeting, we do have a recumbent and a new board member. Welcome, Mrs. Heather Gorsline. So I'm going to ask both of you and Deb Wolf to come to the center to take your oath of office. And if any of your family or friends are here, they can come up here and join you. So I do know that there is one set of family out there. Yes.
We've actually never not done this way before.
Can we stand up before we go?
Actually, got to look
right
at
up
me.
here behind her.
You turn around.
And you have to turn around.
Yeah, because
she
I'm
does
the
it.
person doing
I'm
this.
just that way.
So please raise your right hand and repeat after me. I do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of this state, and that I will faithfully discharge the duties of the office of member of the Board of Education of Williamston Community Schools, Ingham County, Michigan, according to the best of my ability. Thank you and congratulations.
Yay.
They wanted a picture.
Yeah. Here you go. Yeah, Chris is gonna get your picture, and I'm gonna kind of stand out of the way. Thank you. So Heather, welcome. Deb, congratulations. Heather, congratulations. Deb on winning your seat back, and Heather winning your seat and now joining us at the board table. You are now official. Official. Okay, we're going to move into the organizational part of our meeting. Can I please have? Oh, I'm sorry. That's okay. Here you go.
You're like,
You can't. I was going to crawl on the table, but I thought that looked really bad. Thank you. Can I please have a motion for officers?
I move that the Williamston Board of Education elect the following members as officers for 2025. Nancy Deal, President. Sarah Bellinger, Vice President. Christopher Lewis, Treasurer. And Amanda Hathaway Federelli, Secretary.
second?
So I have a first by Dave, second by Sarah. Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? The next is the appointment of board committees. I've talked to you about committees, or I will be talking to you about committees, so you'll get your committee assignments. Next, identification of official signatures. Can I please have a motion?
I make a motion that the Williamston Board of Education authorize Adam Spina, Sarah Tynan, and Christopher Lewis, board treasurer, as the official signatures with all banks of deposit for 2025.
Second.
So first Sarah, second Dave. Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, next is a motion for our pay services.
Make a motion that the Williamston Board of Education, that the compensation for the Williamston Board of Education for 2025 remain at 0 per meeting for all members.
Second?
Okay, so I have a first Chris, a second Dave. Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, and then I need a motion to appoint the Open Meetings Act designee.
I make a motion that the Williamston Board of Education appoint the superintendent of schools as the Open Meetings Act designee.
Second.
So I have a first Sarah, second Deb. Is that you? Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, now that that is all done, we're going to move into citizen comment. Is there anybody in the audience like to address the board at this time? Okay. Celebrations. Adam.
Good evening, board members, and Happy New Year. First off, I want to thank you and recognize you for your continued service to the schools, our students, our staff, and community. January is Board Appreciation Month, and as a small token of our appreciation for your support and ongoing service to our district, the admin team has gotten you a small gift. It's a stadium seat, which I haven't tried yet, but feel free to experiment and see if they work. In any case, they have a good district logo on there, and they look good. Hopefully they work well as well. So thank you as always, and look forward to the year ahead. There's a lot of exciting things on the horizon for WCS, and grateful to be able to have the opportunity to work alongside of you in achieving those goals. Moving on to other items. As you know, the development of the new website has been a major goal for us over the last several months. It was postponed a couple times due to events, other systems coming online, and then the bond proposal back in the summer. But it is now officially up as of last week. There's still a lot of rough edges, so we're continuing to go in and work through things. So the further you dig down, you're going to see a couple issues and things that need to get corrected. For example, this afternoon we went back through and updated and refined the bond website. There's some issues with the staff directory and some other links that need to be updated or inserted, but it's definitely 80% plus completed. I'd like to thank Zaharin Wilhelm and James Doyen. The two of them really took the lead on the development of the site and put in a lot of hours in addition to their normal responsibilities to get this up and running, which I personally greatly appreciated for a lot of reasons. And I think we got a pretty good looking product that will only continue to get better as we chip away at it over time with additional updates. So. New website is up and running, and we'll continue to improve it as time goes on. And then lastly, over winter break, as always, it's a great opportunity for us to get some work done throughout the district on things that can't otherwise be accomplished while students and most of our staff are here during the day. This winter break, some highlights included painting in various locations of the district. The long-awaited furniture for the high school main office arrived. It's almost correct, not perfect. That has been a lot more complicated than what we thought it would be. However, it is a nice upgrade over the temporary furniture they had in there over the last several months. That probably still has some fine tuning to do as well, but when that's accomplished, we will have successfully renovated all of our main entranceways throughout the district, in keeping with some of the goals of our marketing plan and presenting very nice first impressions of our facilities to visitors, guests, and prospective families. Kind of the hotel effect, if you will. When you walk into a hotel, the first thing you see is the lobby, and you start to have an impression of what the rest of the facility will look like after you go into that main entrance. The good news is now with the bond, we're going to be able to push through the rest of the buildings and continue to upgrade them as well. And a lot of fun stuff on the horizon as far as that goes. Another significant project that was completed was running the infrastructure through the middle school to be able to connect an additional bottle filler station that will help keep us in compliance with the new law in terms of the ratio between bottle fillers and students in this building. And as part of that, they were also to run an additional hand sink into the concessions stand at the middle school. So we had a third party do the infrastructure piece, and then our maintenance team hooked up the sink and the bottle filler station. So that is now online in this building.
Adam, can I ask a question about the bottle fillers? So
Yep.
when I was at the high school, I noticed that the bottle fillers kind of replaced where an old water fountain used to be.
Mhm.
So is that the plan across the district, is that there will no longer be any regular water fountains, it's just pothole fillers throughout the buildings?
Right, that is the plan, and we're pretty much there. I have found a couple other water fountains that are kind of tucked away in places people don't notice that will have to get corrected, but yeah, the plan's to go to 100%, and we're pretty much there. I mean, we're essentially there at this point in terms of places people would know to go and get potable water. That is in keeping with the law, but as the board or the new law that's coming online, but as the board knows, we started that initiative back in 2018 and chipped away at it over time, and so we're not in a mad scramble to get that all done. We only received $15,000 from the state as part of the grant for that, which doesn't even scratch the surface of what even a district our size would need to be in compliance with the new law. So fortunately, because we prioritize safety and health of our staff and students for so long, access to clean filtered water in the district is not something we've had to scramble to get completed in the last year.
Do you know how often do we have to replace those filters?
I don't know what the cycle is. Part of it has to do with how often the station's used. So I can tell you, like the new station we put in a couple years ago at the preschool, when they have the summer camp, it's used like all the time, and that one needs to get updated a lot, especially over the summer, because the kids are constantly. Others take a little bit longer. It really just depends on where they are and how often they get access. The nice thing on the fillers is there's a color-coded system that you can see. So as it goes from green to amber to red, so then you know the status of the filter in real time. So if you see it's down at red, it can be replaced right away. So that is it's a nice feature as well. Any other questions on celebrations or bottle fillers or anything else that we accomplished over break? Thank you.
We can move right into education update.
All right, for education update today, I'm not going to do a detailed report because you see this every year and it's always the same metrics. As far as the school index overview, or scorecard index as we call it sometimes, if you recall, up until this year, there were two different accountability mechanisms within the state for public schools. One was this, and the other one was the letter grading system. The letter grading system has expired due to legislative action, and so last year was the last year of that, and so we exited the letter grading system with straight A's and have moved on. However, we still have the school index overview. And so in this, I've given you the this year's, well, really last year's data that is getting released this year, and then how we did 2 years ago by school, so you can compare the last 2 years of available data. As always, we have presented a comparison table, so you can see how Williamston schools, at least the middle and the high school, there's too many elementary schools for us to run down rankings for elementary, but you can see how the middle and the high school stacked up compared to other districts in the area. So just briefly going over this, the overall index score for each building is a composite of all the different subcomponents. Universal support, or the support category, universal support is where we want to be. It just means that you're not labeled with where we're supposed to be. Otherwise, you could be labeled with other codes that indicate the school needs, different types of improvement plans or things that need to be accomplished. So universal support is the score or the label you want in that box. Growth index is by far the most important part, not only in terms of the weights of the scorecard index, but also because that's why we're here, to take students no matter where they come to us at and ensure that they're maximizing their academic abilities. So the growth index is by far, both in terms of weight and in terms of where our focus needs to be as far as this system goes, the most important aspect of it. Proficiency index is just based on state assessments, how many students or the percentage of students who are proficient. Also a quick point on index. This isn't just based on the single year. They also kind of look at the preceding years as well. And so our graduation rate at the high school is not 100%, but when you look at the index and how that's measured over a number of years, that puts us at 100. Graduation rate index only applies to the high school, obviously, and isn't factored in the other areas. English learner progress is not applicable because to have a corresponding subgroup on this, which we do have, just not for ELL students, you need at least a subgroup of 30 students in that particular grade level that the assessment was provided in. And then the School Quality and Student Success Index, this is always the one that's the most complicated and sometimes tricky to figure out. It's made up of several different components that sometimes only apply to a particular school. So those include chronic absenteeism, access to arts and physical education, access to advanced coursework in grades 11 and 12, post-secondary enrollment, and K-8 access to a librarian or media specialist. That doesn't apply though because there's a minimum number of enrollment students that need to be enrolled for that factor to trigger, and we're way under that enrollment threshold for that ratio to be applicable to us. One of the interesting things that you might have noticed that I have always questioned, and I think we made some progress in getting some answers to this, is why, when we offer essentially the same programming for Explorer and Discovery Elementary, are their School Quality and Student Success Index scores not the same? And it has to do with two things. One, because of absenteeism is weighted in there, the special education population absenteeism rate at Discovery was just a little bit lower, or I guess higher, than at Explorer. So that caused a minor fluctuation in the two schools. And the other is when they look at K-8 access to arts and physical education, it's a ratio of the number of staff to the number of students. And so it's not based on the amount of time that they have access to the arts and physical education. It's based on the number of certified teachers that are reported and the number of students that are enrolled. So because Discovery is a bigger school than Explorer, the ratios shift, and that causes Discovery to have a slightly lower scorecard index in that area. Now, one of the things that we've tried to get creative on this year is how can we increase that score just a little bit. Obviously, we're doing very well, the best in the area, as we have for a number of years. But one of the creative things we're trying this year is in our STEAM lab at the elementary campus. STEAM is science, technology, engineering, arts, mathematics. And so we're going to emphasize this coming year the A for arts. Previously, we've coded the STEAM class as a technology type of class. But it's equal parts, all of those different attributes. And so by prioritizing it as an arts class, we're able to increase the ratio of arts teachers to the number of students. And so we're hoping by doing that, we're going to be able to bump up that school quality index score just a little bit for Explorer and Discovery Elementary. And again, that's factually accurate. That's what STEAM is. It's the integration of all those concepts. And so it's just as much an arts class as it is a technology course. As always, we can dive into this in excruciating detail if you're interested, and I would delegate that to Dr. Cook to present that information to you. But the bottom line up front is that we're doing extremely well. We continue to do very well on this metric. This has its faults. I think there's things that the state should be looking for in terms of things that are provided to students that aren't reflected in here. There's a number of reasons for that, but one of the ones that sticks out most significantly to me is the fact that they don't evaluate access to social emotional learning, student welfare, and mental health resources and things that everybody says are important, but they're not included in this. So a district like ours that prioritizes an investment in those areas isn't rewarded, so to speak, by the state in terms of the metrics that they choose to evaluate us by and publish to the public. Now, obviously, that comes way further down the line in terms of priorities than actually making sure our kids are getting the access to what they need, the supports and systems that are most important to them. And obviously that's by far the most important thing, but it would be nice to see the state evolve to prioritize what I think they know is important in schools. And some of these aspects, while important, I would argue not as important as student access to some of those services and supports. So that is kind of a quick summary of this. Are there any questions that I can address?
Are you sure we can't get a recount on the middle school stats?
Yeah, I know, right, within the, just eke this out. But we did have the highest growth index score, and that's the most important thing. So, yeah. So just if you didn't see the standings, the high school, I think for the 7th year in a row was ranked #1, and the middle school was first in the area last year. And dropped the second in the overall index by like tenths of a point,
Mhm.
but still had 100% growth, I think, or not 100%, but had the highest,
I think they had 100% growth.
growth index rating,
Yeah.
so. Yeah, they did, 100% growth index. So, yeah, so congratulations to our student, staff, parents, and community for these continued high results. Last thing I'll point on this, again, I don't lose a lot of sleep over this because this isn't why we're here, but it is what the state publishes and puts out, you know, it's the public-facing record of the schools and how well we're doing. Whether it's accurate or not is up for monthly debate. But well, I think I'll just leave it at that. So we did really well, and but it doesn't necessarily reflect where our priorities are or where we're spending our time.
I agree, I mean, we keep flipping back and forth, number one, number two for our middle school back years, and, you know, the growth index, the growth of our students, I think, yes, is most important. When you look at our high school, that overall index score is not even close, so I think that's something to be really proud of. Pretty exciting. Any other questions for Adam on this? Okay, superintendent's report.
All right, well, I'll start with upcoming events and presentation items. So on the 13th of January, so the week from today at 6 o'clock, in here is the MASB workshop, and that'll focus on superintendent evaluation and updates to the current evaluation law, or the new evaluation law that are now in effect. The next regular board meeting is on the 3rd of February, and at that meeting, Sarah Tynan will be presenting the budget amendment, and Heather Lewis will be presenting a update on social emotional learning initiatives that are transpiring this year. I know various board members have asked questions about how that's going and how it looks different from last year, and so Heather will be able to address those questions at the February meeting. Prior to the February meeting, we are going to need to schedule a finance and facilities meeting. So for those on that committee, look for an email from me this week to arrange a date for that. And for those serving on the policy committee, we also are ready to meet right away. So while not as urgent as the finance and facilities committee meeting, do look for an email in the near future to get a date on the calendar for policy as well. Then moving on to bond updates, we have several upcoming planning meetings. Obviously not a whole lot changed over the break, but a lot of upcoming planning meetings that are really going to pick up the pace starting next week. We did make some small revisions to the tennis court facility layout, just small things like changing the elevation of some of the fences, the color of the fence line, I mean just small things like that. But that project's still on its way. And then obviously the big update this evening is Chrisman contract is finalized and ready for your review this evening. I will say, just as I was walking out of the office, like literally as I was walking out of the office to come here, I did get the first draft diagram of the new Explorer Elementary School. I think as I mentioned in a previous meeting, this month and next month, the winter and into the early spring are really going to pick up the pace on kind of getting that laid out and then starting to solicit input and feedback from the staff and community members that are interested in what that design might look like. So, so we at least have a baseline template now with from where to start, and more developments hopefully in the very near future on getting that going. So those are my updates for this evening. Are there any questions I can address on any of those areas?
Our workshop on next Monday, it starts at 6 p.m. We're going to be ordering food again from Old Nation, so I will look for a link. She usually asks for that order to be in, I think, on Friday, so she can just make sure she has everything and ready to go. So I think she sent me an email, but so just be looking for that link for me. So last year, the meeting started at 6, but dinner was here at 5:30. So we'll keep that same schedule. If you can't get here till 6, your dinner will be here And you can eat as we go through your stuff. Otherwise, dinner will be here, ready to go at 5:30. Any other questions about bond workshop stuff? We do not have any committee reports, discussion items, the contract.
Yep, so as Adam mentioned, we do have a final contract for the Kristen Company. You'll see there are two documents in your board book. One is the standard form of agreement, the other is the general conditions of the contract for construction. These are dated November 1st, 2024, for Kristen to be our construction manager throughout the duration of the 2024 bond projects. These contracts are going to be very similar to what our attorney Frederick presented to you guys a few weeks ago for the French Associates, which would be our architects. But this, of course, is just to be modified to meet the needs of our construction manager contract as opposed to that architect contract. Shroom has reviewed this. We have gone back and forth on a few discussion items, kind of figured all those questions and clarified things out that we needed, and have come to these agreeable terms that are reported here. There is a lot of legal jargon. Feel free to review it. Does anybody have any questions? I most likely won't be able to answer them right here, but I can certainly come back with anything you may have, because those are very technical.
So I just want to be clear, the stuff that is, just like in our other contract, the stuff that is crossed out either didn't pertain to us because it's just a general contract or not something we're using. The stuff that is underlined was stuff that we added?
I believe that is the case, yes. Yes, that is it. Blue is also added, I believe. Looks like there is blue text on page 9.
We had like a 90% solution on this after the RFP process, so there weren't a whole lot of surprises, but there was some clarity in certain areas that we needed to ascertain prior to bringing it to the board, and that was part of the reason for some of the delay. Crispin took quite a while to review it, which obviously makes sense since this is a big, important business venture for them. And on our side, we just needed some additional details that were worked out between our attorneys and French, Crispin, which went very smoothly. Like one such example was who pays when there is a delay in the work that's not Crispin's fault. So that could be for a variety of reasons, but who's footing the bill for that, the things that need to occur, things that, the costs that come up because of that delay. It was very open-ended language. We worked with our attorney and Crispin in a very collaborative manner to kind of hone that down to a very detailed, specific language so we know exactly what the district will be paying for in those circumstances, and it's not just a wide open, non-specific cost contribution that we would have to make in those type of circumstances. So that, again, that was part of the reason for the delay. I know we tried to get this to you a couple different times. It got pushed back, but I think it's in a pretty good spot right now. But as Sarah mentioned, if you read anything that you have questions about, the board wouldn't vote on this till the 3rd of February, so we got plenty of time to get answers to those questions.
Did you feel like you had to make any concessions?
No, and even when it came to, like, for example, what Adam was saying, if something outside of Crispin's control, like weather impacted it, it was like, we'll discuss it and figure out something that's mutually agreeable. It wasn't, we were being provided anyway.
And our lawyer looked this over again, right, and gave the stamp.
Many times.
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Many times.
Are there any questions right now on this glaring document? That's pretty long and single-spaced and tiny. The crossed out place parts and the underlying parts and the blue parts and all of that helped to kind of hone in what I was looking at, so thank you. But again, this is kind of an important thing, so if you haven't had a chance to read the whole thing or scan it or look, or if you saw something, again, I would focus on the underlined pieces, the blue pieces. Those were the pieces that were added, kind of pertain to us. Make sure you get those questions answered before February 3rd, or if you just do you have something, Chris? Sorry. Or I guess if you just need kind of an overview, a quick overview, you can either reach out to Sarah or Adam, but please make sure you do that before the February 3rd board date. And please do not do it on February 3rd at 3 o'clock. So there's a long time between that movie and now, so before our meeting and now to get any answers or questions that you need answered, just so everybody feels comfortable moving forward. We will move this to be put on the agenda to vote on for February 3rd. All right, are we moving on to action items?
Yes.
Yeah, routine action items. Can I please have a motion to approve our consent calendar?
I move that we approve the minutes of the December 9th, 2024 Board of Education meeting.
Second.
I heard Dave
Yep.
first, so I'll do first Sarah, or first Deb, second Dave. Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, we don't have any roll call votes. We have a couple separate action items. Can I please have the approval of tenure and probation status teachers or staff?
Make a motion that the Williamston Community Schools Board of Education grant tenure to Carrie Rodswian. Also increase the probationary status of Madeline Stewart from 3rd to 4th year, Connor Lugendijk from 2nd year to 3rd year, Kyle Robinson and Kyle Sprague from 1st year to 2nd year.
Can I have a second?
Second.
Is that you, Deb? Okay, so first by Chris, second Deb. Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Next, can I have a motion to approve the AP European History class?
Move that the Williamston Community Schools Board of Education approve adding advanced placement European history to the high school curriculum.
Second.
So first Dave, second Sarah. Before we vote on this, I do just kind of want to make sure everyone knows, just because we're voting on this doesn't mean that this is a absolute positive thing that we're doing next year. It means they'll offer it, they see if they can get enough kids, and to see if they can move forward on it. But this is just one of the steps to see how we do. So we have a first Dave, second Sarah. Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion carries. Can I have a motion to extend maternity leaves?
I make
We're
a
in the
motion
next step.
the Williamston Community Schools Board of Education approve maternity leave extensions for Kimberly Kurth and Claire Grisdelda as requested.
Second.
I have a first Sarah, second Dave. Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? And this next, can I have, I'll explain later. Can I have a motion for the bond bid approval process, please?
Make a motion that the Williamston Community Schools Board of Education approve the bond bid approval process as recommended.
Second.
So I have a first Chris, second by Sarah. So Heather, this is a little bit for you, and just to remind everybody, so we're very, very clear. When we hired the individuals, Chrisman and French, to do this work for the schools and everything we need, they will go out and get bids. There are certain things that they have to do by law. They will bring those bids to us. Because we do have months where we don't have consecutive meetings, if they had to, and I'm just using this as an example, I do not have a clue if this is right, but if they had to get 10 tons of steel and they put it out for bid, they followed the legal process, they are gonna need us to kind of approve that night so they can get everything that they need and the price doesn't go up. We really have already approved them to do that when we've hired them, when we've gone through these contracts. This is kind of just a extra production layer for us to know where we are in the process. So even though we're approving this process, it is so we don't have to set aside the rules, and it is already something that we're doing. Any other discussion about that at this point? We're all clear about what that means. Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Our bold goes are there. We don't have any correspondence. At this time, we can, if any citizens would like to address the board, you may come forward. And none. Do we have any board reports or requests? Did someone over here have something? I do, again, I want to remind people that this, Erin Richards and Megan O'Rourke's civics classes have a civics fair this Thursday
2:30.
it goes from 2:30 to 3:10. If you can attend, if you could let Betsy know, probably by tomorrow, so she can, could you then let Erin Richards know if anybody can attend that? If you are available, it is a very interesting, fair that they do. The kids in those classes have to come up with a concern or a problem or something that they would like to see changed. I'm not sure if it's just within the school environment. I know you've seen lots of emails that we've gotten from students with questions. They all pertain to the school environment. So it's very interesting to hear kind of their perspective and what they would like to see. It's set up in the gym, and they have posters, and you just walk around and listen to what they have to say. So if you can attend, I'd really encourage you to. It's really great to see those students in action. Lastly, it is Board Appreciation Week, and I do want to just send out a thank you to each and every one of you. This isn't an easy, it seems easy when we sit up here at these meetings, but there's a lot of work that goes on behind the scenes, and it takes time away from your family and friends and your life, and so I appreciate it, and thank you very much for all that you do and all that you contribute to this board and this school community. Anything else? All right, I will take a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Second?
Okay, so I have a first Sarah, second Deb, all in favor?
Aye.
Right?
Any opposed? All right, you guys have a wonderful rest of your evening.